Right, that's the cards in the computer. So next job now is to pop some buttons on. So if you look at this picture of the display, you can see basically the switch bodies are already in the computer, and basically the switches are these. So well, it's got a very bent pin there. Gently pull it back out again. And the idea basically these is that you've got usual switch contacts, but also it'll light up. And that's great because then what you can do is you can put a legend on there. Now if I move to the switch caps themselves, what you should be able to do is take out this plastic bit, and then you can put like a little legend plate in there. Now actually I've not found a way of getting these out, and the tool to do them last time I checked was ridiculously expensive. I don't know if it's just I don't know why it was so expensive, but for some reason cost an absolute fortune. Can't remember how much it was now. I think I tried to wipe it from my mind because it was so horrific. So what I do with these instead is I use Letraset, which is a bit of a blast from the past actually. I'm amazed it's still freely available. And what this does is you can use this just to transfer the letters onto this piece. And they stick quite well actually, so it does work a treat. Now the only trouble then of course is for repeated pressing it's liable to rub off, so what I do then is pop a bit of tape over the top. So it's not the best finish of all, but it does at least give you a switch that's good enough. If I ever do find a way of getting these caps off, I'll always have the option then of actually wiping these all down, cleaning them all off, and then instead actually putting maybe a laser printed transparency in there, which would then give me a lot crisper text as well, because at the moment these can be fine, but you can also sometimes get a bit of wobble on them as well. And I've used these throughout my computer displays, so yeah. Right, okay, the other trick when doing this as well is to make sure they go the right way around, because it's got a little notch. So I have done before, I've labelled them up and then found out I've got them the wrong way around, and everything's at 90-degree angle, so that's something very much to watch out for. Otherwise it's just a case of just going through them. So what I'll do is I'll do another time lapse again, and all I'm going to do is just lay them out. I'll probably just stick them down with some masking tape just so they don't move around when I'm doing the Letraset, and then I can pick them off and then put some tape on them after that. Okay, right, let's go. Right, well, that's those done. Yeah, and it's certainly fair to say these things have a certain rustic charm. Here's a bit of a close-up of them. Also, as I was going through there, of course, the capital letter X is not all that popular in letter set, so I ran out. So you can probably see on the load X, I've had to improvise by using two Y's. On the load XY as well, actually, I started off using the V, so I've sort of put a V across to try and get the tops of the letters right. But yeah, I mean, these are, I mean, they've got a certain charm to them, but obviously if I could do them properly, I really could do with get them printed onto a piece of film. But like I say, I can't get the switch caps off. Right, okay, so let's get these on the computer. And then we can wire up the back of the switch card so that it should control the registers, and then we're at the point where we give the computer a full test. Right, this is a relatively quick job to do. So we've got all our buttons now made, so just need to click them onto the board. So what I'm going to do is just support the board at the back a little bit, just to make sure that I'm not pushing it too hard, and then all I'll do is just bring the buttons up and clip them on. So first of all, we'll go for the X register. So you can see as well that these ones are yellow and these ones are green, so that corresponds to what we're doing here. And the way we're going to put them on is, got X, Y, XY, and then the equivalent selects. So select XY, select XY. Cool. For the memory register, similarly we have load M1, load M2. There is no loading M on this one. And select M1, select M2, and select M. And that's the memory register ones. And then finally we've just got a jump register. So we've got jump 1, load jump 2, and then select. And there you go, and that's all the buttons required for that display. So really that's display A done. Now again, that's on one of the older PCBs, so I may well end up replacing that with a proper one again at some point. I'll probably just do that as I'm doing other cards. Maybe I think for every card I get older, I'll maybe just add another existing card and then just quietly do that. If there's anything interesting on those, I'll do a video. But that's it. So that's all the switches, and they all look like they should. So yeah, definitely looking a lot better. Right, okay. What's next? I think now I need to look at the wiring on the back, because I'm pretty sure these buttons here are actually the cables there, but it isn't actually wired into anything. So let's flip the machine round and we can take a quick look. Okay, so to take a better look at this, I'm going to need to remove this temporary clock board here. I can't remember if I've covered that in a previous video, but effectively that's just a makeshift clock at the moment that's just that's been running my computer from. And actually up here is where you can change the speed of it. Now I've got a couple of choices for the clock, whether to do one out of relays, which is kind of the more traditional way of doing this, or this one, which is actually using a crystal oscillator, and then it's just divided down. So ultimately that gives you like 1 second or half a second, quarter of a second, and so on, just by dividing it repeatedly. I think what I'll probably do with this one as well is I'll probably design a proper version of that, because eventually one of the bays in the X bay there will be a clock card, so this will basically become that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this away, and this way you can see where all my clips have gone to. I'll just take that one out as well. So that's just its power supply, and then if I so that was in tighter than I expected. There we go. This will just give me better access to that cable, and we'll see what sort of state it's in. I'll just drop you down there, out of the way. Right, okay, so what we have is there's the connector here, which you can see is basically missing the rest of its cables, so that's basically where this will need wiring up. And then at the top here, which you can't quite see, there's another row of pins, and basically that connects to these top switches and to the middle switches. So effectively I just need to wire that out. I think, yeah, that's the rest of that connector, and then this will just need a new connector on there to connect up there. Right, I'm not going to bother videoing that because I'll have to reset all my cameras and lights and everything again. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go and make that cable, and I will come back when it's done. So what I'll do in the meanwhile is just quickly just unplug this. Yeah, it's a bit fiddly in here. I've got the cable I'm after here, cool. And then there. And that just connects into the wire out board down here, which I'm hoping I did wire out, but I've got a feeling I haven't. No, I haven't. Okay, so that's another thing I'll have to show you in a minute as well. So basically there's a board at the bottom of here, so this is the cable I was talking about. So basically you can see that goes to there. So effectively if I've got to wire these ones out, then there'll be an A to A over there, and likewise then just wire those out the same up there. So that's easy enough to do. The problem will be is on this board down here, which I can't quite show you just yet. I'll need to get the wiring out to wire those together. Now I am tempted actually just to wire wrap this out, because I think eventually I will actually change all of this. Choices. I'll have a think anyway. Alright, so I'm going to try a bit of handheld video here. So this might be a bit shaky. Just try and show you the problem I'm kind of facing down here. So this is the wire out board, and basically this is where I wire out all of the control buses out to these display cables. And this has always been a little bit on the messy side. If I look just inside there, you can see basically the connectors that I'll be working on. So effectively these down here all need wiring out over to the control Y bus down there. Now I've got a couple of choices here actually, because I think that eventually I would like to replace this cog because it's a real messy one and it's not my finest work. And I was also having the problem where effectively it's a double-sided board because you've got switches on the front, but then you're having these individual connectors just there to get the signals down. I think what I'd like to do actually is just have a single connector at the bottom, and then a single ribbon cable that then just takes it down to this board down here. So I think I'll work on a design for that. In the meanwhile then I've just got to decide if I want to do something temporary or not, because what I could do is I could just take those wires up there and just wire them down to the buses down here directly, or I could fix up that cable I just showed you and connect it down there and then wire it out from there. But a lot of it's going to depend on how quickly I want to do the display cards. I mean, given it's going to be a bit of a time, I think I'm going to finish off the connector for this one down here, and then the ones up there I'll probably I don't know, I'll have a think and I'll come back to this. You can tell I'm a bit undecided how to go about this because I just really can't face setting all these cables up if I'm going to end up throwing them away. But it could definitely do with being a bit cleaner up in this top part of the machine. Plus you notice all the space up here as well. This is all going to be used for extra things as well. So eventually there'll be some things appearing on the top of this machine as well, but that's for another time as well, because that'll be left as a surprise. Right, okay, let's go and have a thinky. Right, okay, so decision made. So I've done this cable up now, so I've connected in those ones there. I've left that one behind though, because actually I've run out of the crimp pins that you needed for this. So I think what I'm going to do for the top one is, just as a temporary measure, I'm going to use this that I've got to hand, and then just connect that directly up on the top one there, and then I'll just wire wrap from there down to the Y connector down there, and that'll be the quickest way of doing that one. So I think what I'll do first of all is I'll just wire out this connector and do the wire wrap for down there, and then what I'll do is I'll do the top one, and then we're ready to give the whole thing a test. Right, I'm not going to video this next bit because again I just can't hold the camera whilst doing the work, so I'll come back in a second when it's all wired out and I'll cover what's changed. Right, so that's the wire out done for that block just there, and that goes round to the control Y here. So effectively in terms of buttons, that's the XY register wired out. So in theory now I can put the cable on here, this cable on there, and then all that's left then is just to wire this one out here. And as I say, what I'll do is I'll take a ribbon cable down and just wire that out separately. So I'll quickly just fast forward and do that. Okay, so that's all those connectors back on again. I've just made a bit of a horrifying discovery because I just thought, well, before I go and wire up the other connectors, I should probably just test that the X cards are working. And they are, except for this row of connectors just here, on this side here, aren't actually connected to anything. Let me just pop underneath the card and I'll show you what I mean. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see this properly, but let's see. I think what I might need to do is pop the flash on or pop a light on. But basically, you can see here that these all have little wire jumpers jumping over that side to that side. I'm going to try something a bit less chubby than my finger. So yeah, so from there to there is wire links. This one though, from there to there doesn't have any, because I probably just didn't do them at the time because they're a bit boring to do. That's obviously going to come back to bite me now because basically I have to take that card out, put those wire links over, and then I should be okay to go. So at the moment the load X is working but not the select, and that's because the selects are all on this side. The ones in the middle just have a jumper straight over with a solder link, so they're working fine. So yeah, so I'm going to have to take the card out. So I'm just going to do that now. Again, I'm not going to record it. Right, okay, so after that slight detour now then, we've got the all the connections back in again on this card, and I now know that all the XY registers are working, which I'll prove to you in a minute when I turn the computer around and we have a look from the front. Right, so last job in case of wiring, we're nearly there, this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would do, is to take these connections up here and then basically wire those out as well, just temporarily. So as I mentioned before, I'm just going to use this temporary cable here, and then basically that'll go up there. I'll wire wrap from there down to there, and then basically that's it. And I'm pretty damn sure now we'll actually replace this card with a better designed one. Shouldn't take me too long to design actually. And then what I'll do is I'll just have one wider connector going up to display A, and then one wider one going up to display B. What I'll do when I design them actually is I'll do the pins in order. So actually, although I use one of these type of connectors, I can then just put these directly into the socket as a temporary measure if I haven't done display A and display B yet. Anyway, right, let's move on, get in there. So there we go, there's the abomination of wiring. So it's just coming off the top of there, going to the wire up here, and then that's all going into the connectors down there. I'll probably just loosely tie those together just so they're not dangling around, but otherwise we should be ready to give these a try from the front. Okay, so finally we've got all the cards in now. So as you can see down here, here and here are the new cards. So all I need to do now is just give them a quick test. So if we just quickly flip the power on, that's a reassuring click as well, because that means all the register cards down here and down here have been firing up. So first of all then I'm just going to load a simple pattern in. So what I'll do is I'll pop 2 on there and 2 in the middle. And what that'll do is that'll allow me to see if these are coming the right way around, or if there's any reversing or anything like that. So the idea is if I select the data switches and then load A, B, C, D, and that's all exactly as you'd expect. So now let's go on to the new ones then. So same again, going to load M1, load M2, load J1, J2, load X, and load Y. Okay, that's all the loading. So now let's try selecting. So as you'd expect, I can select A, B, C, D, but also now selecting M1, M2, X, Y, which is good. Okay, now for the 16-bit side, I can select M, which is there, I can select J, and I can select XY. I can also load XY as well, so if I clear XY, and then if I select J and load XY, it should copy that value back into it again. Great, so that's all looking as it should do. Curious, I'm just going to see how many amps it uses to switch all these registers on. So what we'll do is we'll set all bits on, and we'll load A. Now copy A to B, B to C, C to D, D to M1, M1 to M2, M2 to J1, M2 to J2, and then let's do J into XY as a whole. Okay, so that's all those bits set there, and we're coming up for 2.5 amps, just shown at the top here. So what else can we set? We can load the instruction register. So again, if I do that, it's the instruction register selected at the top. We can load the program counter. So if I select, say, J, load the program counter. Now this is exactly what would happen normally in a jump. So actually you'd have your jump address set into J, so you'd load it J1, then J2, and then your jump address is ready to go to. And if you do take the jump, it will just load the program counter from it rather than loading it from the next position of the incrementer. Speaking of the incrementer, there's one more register here to go, and the way I'm going to load that is if I load, let's do something like a return address. So I'm going to select that into the Y register. So it's now just lost one bit down here. If I now select the XY and load the incrementer, you now see that you basically get all the lights set on there. And that's because we're one bit less, so it's now loaded, the incrementer is one bit more. If we did the full amount into the incrementer, then the answer would be 0 again, because it would just roll around. Right, okay, and the last thing I can do is get that bit back on again into the XY register. So this time I'll select M and load XY. Okay, so with as many bits on as I think I can get, we're just under 4 amp. So that's not too bad actually, because the registers tend to be the ones that use quite a lot of power. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. So a lot of having to faff around. So we had to configure the cards, put them into all the bays, had to do all the buttons up here, lots of wiring in the back to make all that work, but that's basically it now. We have all the registers we need, and there's only actually one bay empty now, and it's one up here, and that's where the clock will go eventually. Right, so in terms of jumping and branching, if you'd like to take a look at my my blog, relaycomputer.co.uk, you can see that I'm basically going to start designing how to do the branching, and that's where this computer gets really interesting, because then you can start doing loops and you can start doing if statements and all those other sort of goodies. So that's something you're definitely going to be working towards. To do that, I'm going to have to make the sequence have 24 stages. That basically is going to involve completing the top card and finishing off the bottom card in here. And again, I'll do them in use PCBs. And then once that's done, then I can implement the go-to instructions on the controller here. Now in theory, everything it needs to do this now is already available, so it's just a case now of updating the controller and the decoder to do those sort of instructions. But we'll leave that for next time. Okay, well thank you for watching if you have been, and see you next time.